Hey everyone, it's Apache here and welcome back to another episode of Vintage Story here on the Skalds of Vintara server. Thank you for joining me today and continuing to show your support for the series. If you do enjoy this episode, please leave a like and a comment, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. So as you can see, the health hammer here is not working still. And that is even with changing this from there to over here. When it does work, it actually works better than it did before because I've changed a couple of things in the actual design of the building as I went, which did help things a bit. But this is a problem still. And I want to show you what the problem is. Down here you can see I've opened this up. And you can see that the ones on the right hand side are turning and the ones on the left hand side are not. So this is still an issue, and I've tried this out in a creative world as well. I've put a windmill up in one chunk and then a very short cable out to another chunk, logged out in the chunk with the, well, I had a quern in it rather than a health hammer, and logged out there, logged back in to a creative world, and this problem still happened there. So this is a proper bug within the mechanics system, and I know pretty much exactly what the bug is as well, so I just want to walk you through it so that if you are encountering this problem in your world, you will know what to do. It's a very simple fix that you can do to actually get this working again very quickly, and it has to do with where you log in. Now you see, when you log into the world, the time on the server starts and the chunk which you log into is loaded, but then the entire world around it is then loaded as well. But at the moment you log in, global time starts. So global time starts all over the server, and the chunk which that thing is in there, which the windmill is in, that chunk is still unloaded. Whereas the chunk, this chunk, here's the boundary here, remember? So this chunk here is loaded, sorry, is unloaded, and this one is loaded. But global time here still happens, still occurs. So the windmill will start turning. But it only gets to here, and it doesn't know what to do, because these are unloaded chunks. Well, one of these is unloaded. So there's an interrupt between the time that global time starts and the time that the chunks are loaded, and that is the problem. There's a desynchronization with that. I don't know exactly, I haven't looked into the game files, so I don't know exactly what the problem is. However, the workaround, the fix, sleep. Sleeping does synchronize time around you, of course, because it speeds up time, so it has to synchronize time between all the threads around you, all the different chunks around you, sorry. And so the door's open here, we can see it. If I get into bed just slightly, and it's now working. So you don't even need to get into bed for very long. All you need to do is get into bed, let time speed up just a tiny little bit so it starts going dark, and then jump out of bed. And now this is working properly. And if we come over to here, we can see that this is now working as well. So these are all turning as they should do. That does of course mean that moving this and moving all of the axles were completely pointless. Such is life, such is life. Well, what are we going to get on with now? I want to move away from this because we've been talking about this windmill and all of that stuff for a long time now, number of episodes, so I want to get on with something new. I do want to build up a new shop as well. I want to start a new industry. We have a smith going and I want to carry on with that as much as I can. However, I think there's something missing on this server. We're getting into a lot of the decoration stuff now, and something which would be really good for that is a pottery shop. Now I've built up a schematic, well, a full build actually, for a pottery shop in my creative world. However, it's a bit bigger than I thought it would be. I originally had a floor plan around here because I thought that I was going to build this around here. And then Nathan reminded me that we were originally talking about building the pottery shop over here by the clay pits. So just on the other side of this here, we have this clay pit here, which was slightly dug into on day one. But if we leave it like this could be almost like an ornamental pit, an ornamental clay pit. Now we do have the option of the availability if we wanted just to fill this in creative mode again, just with this stuff, and we will say that this is decorative and we don't use this pit for actually gathering clay, so we can actually turn this into a bit of a project. However, I quite like the idea of leaving it exactly as it is, and we can place down a few little kind of a trough and some tools around here, a tool rack with some shovels on it, and actually turn this into a bit of a feature. I quite like that idea. So the next place I tried this building was just around here. However, it seemed to be a bit too big for that as well. So then I moved it over here, and the only place I could really get it to work was if it jutted out right into the back of here. So it would actually end up about here, say, and then go down that way. Now in creative, it didn't actually seem like that big a build. It really didn't seem like that big a build at all. I thought I'd built quite a nice, dainty little shop. However, compared to the size of the buildings here, it's quite big. I was judging it against that thing. It's smaller than that. But it's not smaller than this. Now, this is my starter house, and I think I may have outgrown this a little bit now. And so you can see I've added these hay bales around the outside of this, which is where the new pottery shop is going to be. Which means I need to take all of this house down. This is going to completely disappear. I did have an idea about trying to extend this out. However, the style of this build really doesn't particularly go with what I wanted to do. I'm still using the same block palette. I'm using the same block palette throughout everything I do in this village. However, the shape of it isn't right. So you can see the actual outline of it here. We have the front right hand side of it here, and it goes down here and across here. We have an L shape which takes it back here. We have a back door just here, and then it comes across to here, down to the front, and then the front door will actually end up just here. And I think this is pretty much in the perfect place. I may end up moving it just one more over so that this will actually end up there. And I think that will make it the perfect size and alignment. Now this is going to take a bit of work because we're going to need to do a bit of terraforming first. Just want to make sure these are in the right place. That one goes there, and then this one will move over to there. And then this will come down to there. We'll put that one in and that one in, and move this one as well. And then we can have a look at the terraforming we need to do. So this one is going to need to move as well, just to down there, so we can see where the edge of this is. So what I want to do is build up this area here, and just take this out, take a couple of these trees down, or at least just bury the trees maybe. And you can see this is the back corner here, so these two trees are definitely going to have to move, and probably this one as well. Maybe these two, because they will be in the backyard, and we're going to need quite a bit of space for outside in the back as well. So I've gone and got some dirt, but I did think I had a huge amount more dirt than I actually do. I think I used maybe 7 or 8 stacks of dirt, actually filling in the underground of the old windmill there. So yeah, I'm probably only going to be able to do the outline of this until we actually get some more. So I think, shall we have this? I think I'll drag this path down a bit further as well, so that we can actually do that. And that will give us plenty of space then around the outside to do a bit of this terraforming, and it needs to come right out to here. So if we do that, that'll give us, this will actually be one further out as well, won't it? So that'll go there. And so I think we need to bring it to at least there. And I want it to look fairly natural on the landscape as well. And so we'll have to take these trees out. I will definitely have to take these trees out, actually. So let's see how much destruction this causes. We can plant more trees, that's no problem. We've got loads and loads of saplings. So I'm not really too worried about any of the tree damage. It's just taking a huge amount of time to actually cut this one down. There we go. Excellent. Right, so that has taken one of these big trees out as well. Bit of a shame, but we do need some oak anyway, especially for this build. So it's probably actually saved us a bit of time actually gathering the resources that we need to build it. So I haven't done that yet. I'm basically just building the footprint today, and then I'll see about whether I want to do this as a kind of time jump type thing, bringing you back in with progression reports, so you can see the progress of it being built, or whether I'd want to do another time lapse. But the time lapses take quite a long time to record and to set up for as well. And I also need to tear this building down first. Now what I'm going to do with the building, I'm not going to just completely destroy it and cannibalize it for the new build. What I want to do is, if I get rid of these blocks there, that's as much as we've got. We are going to need some more. Inside this building, wow, that was a lot of oak. Inside this building we have, let's see, all of the chests in here are empty. So we have 1, 2 and 3. And then up here we have another 10. So take all of those away. Take those away. So we have 13 chests here, and I'm wondering whether this entire build can fit inside of these 13 chests. Because if they can, then what we can do is just package down this house, put it into chests, and then I know pretty much exactly how to build this house, and if I've got every single block that I need, then I can put this house back up pretty much wherever I want. And I may actually end up putting it back up just here, because I think this might be quite a nice place to have it, right in front of the barn, and it'll be just across the way from the pottery shop as well. So it might not be moving far. So what I want to do is actually put these chests down just here, right next to the tavern here, and there we go. So now I'm going to take this building down and place it into as many of these chests as it will fit into. Well, it is the dawn of a brand new day here now on the server, and I have finished taking the building down, and that is the last of the fences from around the back of it as well. Now this thing ended up taking a lot less than I actually thought it would to do, and you can see here this is all I've got left. I've left in the cellar just as a bit of posterity for now, I suppose, and we may be able to shrink it down, well, widen it and deepen it and turn it into an actual cellar for the new build as well, because it will actually be completely enclosed in this space here. So I need to make sure that I've got all of this in the right place now. So we moved this one over by one, so there are some of these that are going to need to move. So all of these are okay, and now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it should be there. So that's alright. All of those are okay. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that needs to go there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's fine there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are here. That's the other corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one. And yes, that is all okay. Just need to put one more in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so it will go just there. Just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, everything lines up. And so now you can see the proper outline of the building. We still have a couple of trees here to take down. I may actually end up though putting a couple of ladders up and just trimming the branches around here. However, how far away is that tree? No, this one's going to have to come down as well, and we'll place all of these back up. It did actually destroy my iron axe though, this did, so that's my second iron axe of the server gone, and I have to make my third one very soon. I might go over and do that now before I actually start building this thing. I don't know how far I want to get with this today. This is going to be a multi-episode build, but I desperately did want to take this building down and actually show you the floor plan of this thing. So I've now dug out the floor plan for this thing. You can see this is where the actual wood of the floor is going to go, and around the outside I've left a one wide gap just for the cobblestone walls to go. One of the first things I do want to do though is actually clear a load of this stuff out of the way. I'm going to need a lot of thatch for some of the builds I'm going to do, because I've got a really nice design for an Iron Age roundhouse that I want to build, but of course it's got a very large domed thatch roof on it, so I need stacks upon stacks upon stacks of hay bales, and so that is where all of this is going to go. I've actually got a small little village basically of Iron Age roundhouses, which looks really cool in a creative world, and I'm hoping I can find somewhere on the server just outside of a village where that will actually go, and I'll build up my own little settlement there, because it doesn't really fit in with the theme of the village we've got going on here, but I think I know somewhere where it would actually look really cool. So I'm going to go around and clear all of this out, and a little bit around the edge as well, and I'll meet you back once all this is done. So there's nearly another stack of the hay grass collected, and now this is ready to actually start building. So I want to show you the initial design of this thing. So it's very similar to what we've done before, to be honest with you. So we have these pillars coming up here, and these are going to want to be, hang on, I've got another thing on my back which will actually give me a better idea of what we're doing here. So if we place this down, inside here we've got lots and lots of granite cobblestone, and so I want to actually build the first little wall of this place just so we can see the overall size of it and where everything is going, and then we can build up the columns around the outside of this. Now I tend to start designing these buildings with the columns first and then put the actual cobblestone in, or whatever building material I'm using, wrapping around the inside of the pillars that I've placed. However, I can see the intrigue in actually putting the walls in first and then putting the columns around the outside of those walls, and it's a style that I have been playing with slightly. I find it a little bit more difficult because I like to try and work out the full exterior of the building first and the dimensions of the building that I want to make, and then try and work out the interiors afterwards. And I try and work it out based on the gap between these pillars. So we can see on this building over here we have a very small gap. We only have a 3 gap between the pillars all the way around. However, on this one it's a 5 gap, and on that building over there it's a 4 gap. So that determines what size your doors are going to be, what size your windows are going to be, and what size your kind of grid layout inside is, because this is based on a full grid. If you see that, if we see like a 5x5 area of cobblestone would be this one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another one, and so this is a 2x1 grid, and then this is a what's to say, 4x2 grid, and then you just put them together, and you've got the L-shape layout of the house. And that's how I have tended to begin designing these things, at least. Work out what kind of grid pattern I want to go for, and then work out from there. So there is the cobblestone around the outside. So that is the actual size of the building. I think the best thing to put in next would actually be the floor of this place. So I definitely don't have enough to do all of it. But I think it's going to be good to get some of this in and then make up some more planks and get all of this floor filled in. And that gives us a real good canvas to start building on. And again, this is different to how I build it in creative mode. Because of course in creative it's actually better or easier to build upwards straight away. So what I would normally do is place in all of these pillars around the outside and just fly backwards and just have a look at how that is going to look. And then I'll put in the front fascia, the front of the building, or the back, depending on which way I'm working, and then fly back and see how that looks. And by doing that, it allows me to build up an actual idea in my mind of what the full build is going to look like before it's actually finished. And I really like doing it like that because I'm not a natural builder. I don't really think in terms of curves and of basically I have a very linear mind. I think in straight lines is how I usually say it. Because I'm a programmer. That's basically it. I've been programming and developing for so long that my mind thinks in terms of very linear ways. So I think I'm going to have to empty some of my inventory. So I'll use one of these spare chests right up here. In fact, let's take this over to here. We can place it down right next to the granite, and we can use this as a bit of a dump chest for now. And I'm going to fill in all of this and put some of the columns in and the shale around the outside, and I'll come back to you once that is done and we'll see where we want to go from there. So here is the floor plan of the building now. So you can see I put the oak floor in for the ground floor here, and the bottoms of each of the columns or pillars up the sides. And now I want to, before we put any of the doors in or do anything else with this, I want to put in where the windows are going to be. And I wanted to do this because I have a little bit of a rule with when it comes to windows on my builds that I want to show you. I'm not sure if Nathan follows the same rule. I'm pretty sure I've seen it in places where it hasn't, yeah, and I'll show you that in a second. But my rule is essentially that windows shouldn't meet at the sides of the building. So you can see here, if we put a window here and a window here, then we'd be able to come to this and we'd have glass here and glass here. And I don't like doing that. There's no particular reason why not. I just think it looks, at least from the inside, a lot smarter to have a frame around each of the windows that you put in. And so usually I go like this and put in the 3 bits on the corner on each of these, so we can see where the first of the windows is going to be. And it's the same on this side as well. So if we do that just there, because we don't want a window which is going to be right against this either, right against this column. And again, that's more so that you're looking from the outside and it looks much better. It does look much better, to be honest. And so we can put in the oak just here. And I'll actually show you the difference from the outside, if I put in these pieces as well, so this is how big the windows are going to be. So from the outside here, that is the current view that we have. And if I put that bit in as well, it'll give us a bit more framing. And so you can see the two windows have decent frames around them on the outside here. If we move this to there, and so we say we want to have all of this side like as a 5 wide window, we can see that from the inside, and I suppose just to frame it off a little bit more in our vision, we can put these bits on just there. So we can see from the inside why I don't like having these flush against the side wall here. This to me is still part of the side wall and not part of this wall. So if we put these bits in from inside, instantly it looks so much better. And then from the outside, you can see this just looks totally out of place now, this column. And so we place these bits in to frame it from the outside as well, because otherwise it just looks like one continual window with the column in the middle and it looks like the column shouldn't be there at all. So doing it like this frames off both of the windows from both the inside and the outside, and that's usually how I come to look at windows. Now I know at the back here, because this is actually going to be a shop, so I want people to come in, and I don't want windows all the way around here, because otherwise I'm not going to have anywhere to put in the stock. Now we have the front entrance of the building here, and so I want most of my stock to be against this wall here. Over here, this is going to be a counter, very similar to we did in the forge, but this wall, I don't want any windows on this wall at all, because we're going to need it for wall space, for hanging stuff up on the walls. So that is that. Now the next thing is I also like to add in at the top and the bottom of each of the windows, I like to have the stairs like this, which recesses the window back into the wall, and it creates a bit more depth to the building. If it was just with the slabbed windows, then it would look okay. These two wouldn't look too much different, but you can see how different the frames look here, with the quite plain one on the left here, and then on the right this adds a huge amount more relief to the building. And it's just that simple little things that add all the difference to the overall design of the building. It makes it look a lot deeper, the texturing a lot deeper, and it makes the building look a lot more established within its surroundings as well. It makes it look like the architect has actually thought about where the windows are going to be placed, rather than just punching out holes from either the inside or the outside and saying there's a window instead of there's a hole in a wall. So now I have the ground floor of the building put in place. Now this always to me looks a bit like a prison when I first do these bits of my builds, because I have this particular design in mind. As it's starting to get dark here now, let's put our lantern on our bar, just light it up around us a bit. Yeah, because I have this particular design in mind and I know how it's eventually going to turn out, the ground floor always seems very prison-esque. It seems like I don't know, like a Tortuga style jail, I think, something along those lines anyway. But anyway, inside you can see I've added a lot of wall space, and that's because this shop is going to have quite a lot of shelves on it. In fact, almost this entire wall is going to be just an entire wall of shelves with stock on the shelves. Because I've had a look at pictures of pottery shops and of kind of ceramics works and stuff like that, and a lot of them, the ones I really like at least, have these shelves that are just jam-packed full of pottery and various different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have pretty much all of this wall with, I think, 2, maybe even 3 lots of shelves on, and then I'm just going to fill those with crocks and with bowls. I think 2 of crocks and 1 of bowls, maybe something like that. But then I'm also going to use the same kind of shelves that I've used in the forge, the chiseled shelves, and they are going to be lining the walls. Kind of, I'll have like 1 up here and then 1 down here, and they're going to be full of stuff as well. Stuff like storage vessels, cook pots, what else have we got? Planters, flower pots, all kinds of different stuff like that. And so I wanted a lot of clean, flat wall space to be able to fill with stuff like that. So at the moment it might be looking a bit bare, it might be looking like there's too few of these windows in here, but it will actually all end up looking really nice. I've got this entire build actually fully planned out, so I know exactly how it's going to come out. As you can see on the outside, I've just taken this out. This is where the path is going to be, and I haven't decided whether I want to fully texture this path outside here or just whether leave it the same style as this. I'll probably leave it the same style as this, but I know we were talking about actually increasing the width of this road, so I might end up taking all of this line out as well, all the way up to here, and actually having a 3 wide or even a 4 wide path coming down the centre here, which then splits off maybe down to a 3 wide, and then after here down to a 2 wide there. But yeah, let me sleep and I'll show you what we're going to do next. So another progress update for you, and I have done a huge amount of work on this so far. I've added in most of the first floor just up there. So I've also added in the roof supports, and I've started working on the roof. And I brought you back in here because I want to talk through a couple of little tips and tricks for roofing, and some things which I've found really, really useful. The first thing is, if you do build in this kind of style, like I do, I build in a very Minecrafty style, I suppose, but that's where I'm from, that's what I like doing, and I really like this kind of building as well. It lends itself to a lot of different types of building, like that, and the residential home, and now this. Now, if you use these little stubby out bits, these outcroppings with what in Minecraft would be a button, but with these it's like a hobnail in chisel, made out of chisel blocks, I suppose, yeah. Then it's really nice and easy to work out where the roof is going to go. If you add some scaffolding, now I've used hay grass as scaffolding here, you can add it onto the end of the outcropping here, and if you do that on each of them and then join them together in the middle all the way around the building, and then you get the perfect scaffolding layout for where your bottom blocks of your roof will need to go. Now if we, I suppose, have a look just around here, I've done a little bit just on this side, just working out exactly where stuff needs to go. And the other thing I've been working on is a different type of roof style. With a lot of these, and with my starter house, I had very straight roofs. This is just a slabbed roof, and on the starter house I had just a 45-degree staired roof, stairs all the way up, very similar to this. So this was the kind of style, it goes up and then back down. Now I didn't want to do that on this, and I didn't want to do it on the forge either. So the forge, if you saw in the time lapse when I was building that, I've created these kind of real swooping curve up and a swooping curve down, and that's what I've done on this one as well, and I think it's come out really nice and well. So I actually want to talk you through just a couple of things before we go upstairs in this. So I have completed a lot of work inside as well. So if we come through to here, you can see inside here I've put the ceiling on the ground floor here with these beams in as roof supports between the floors, and I've put a central column just here. I've also added in the counter area here, and I haven't added in any of the doors or windows yet. That will all come later on. I just want to get all of the bricks and mortar and the woodwork and carpentry sorted out first. I've got a staircase going up to the first floor, so if we head on up, you can see I've added in this is actually quite a tall room for such a building like this, with the just a ground floor, and then the first floor is in the eaves like this. It is actually really quite tall here. It'll end up being 4 tall at the shortest amount there. I've added in the gable ends. There's 3 gable ends. So there's this one here in the L of the L shape, or the tail of the L shape, and then there's one on either side of the major directions just there. And then I've added in a dormer window on the front here, and I've made this much wider because this is actually going to be out of a different material, which I don't quite have any of yet. I've got to make up some hardened clay to go into here. So for the roof, I want to talk you through and walk you through what I've been doing with this. If we come down and outside, underneath the scaffolding here, you'll see exactly what I mean when I say this curved roof. So you can see here I've got 1, 2, 3 stairs going up, and then I've got a slab, and then a plank, and then another slab, and then a plank, and then finally a stair going up there. These are fairly easy to reproduce all the way around. I usually use, well, in this style I've been building within the village here. I've been using kapok as the framing for the roof, and then birch for the filling of the roof. So to start this, on top of the scaffolding, then there is your first block for your roof, and it lines up perfectly. This side of the scaffolding, even though you're not actually building on it like this, it lines up perfectly to build the gable ends as well, so that they stick out and cause an overhang on the build. So if you build up standard 3 tall roof, so there is 1 on the end, 2, and then 3. You put your under side block on there, but then instead of placing the stair on here, it is a slab. And then we have a plank, and I think I need to have some scaffolding on me so that I can place some scaffolding there, and then place a plank on there. And then we want some more slabs just there and there. If you don't have it and you're doing intricate building work like this, get the mod called VS Hood. You can find it on the forums, and it is so useful for building work like this, because it places these ghost blocks on. I have spoken about it before. It's also what adds on this the GUI on the top left there, and it is so useful. I cannot recommend it enough. It's brilliant. So we need a stair on there, and I'm actually going to need to drop this down, or at least come out to there, and then down to there, so I can put this bit on, because that's going to need to go in preferably this way if we can. Anywhere it's going to go. No, okay, we need to go over by 1 again. So actually, right underneath it, because that will need to go in that way just there. And then finally, once we take down all of that scaffolding, we can place in the last of the planks just there. So now if we come down, in fact if we go down this way, then I can pick up all the scaffolding, break these 2 out, and then jump back across and down. Yay, didn't even take damage. So now you can see that that is the archway which will be connecting the two sides of the roof there. And I really like this style. In fact, now we can take away this scaffolding from here. Let's use this axe so that it's insta-break. And all the way along. And now we can see, take a step back, and during the sunset here we can see exactly what this is going to look like. And see, you can see it's a nice sweeping curve all the way across. It makes the roof a lot lower, and it makes it seem a lot wider as well. It makes this gap seem a lot wider. And I don't know if you can really see what I see with this building. When I was building this in creative, I didn't think that this was actually that big. And I think the main thing was that I was looking at it on the inside. And the inside space in here, once you actually fill it out with some furniture, isn't actually that huge, surprisingly enough. Or at least I don't think it is. I don't think this is that big a build. I know Ashantim was calling it this huge, enormous build, and I tend to disagree, I think. I don't know. Let me know, is this a big build for Vintage Story? Because I'd class this as a medium size build. In fact, no, I'd class that as a medium size build. This is fairly small for what I usually do. Well, we have done a huge amount today, and I've just noticed the time on the video and it is drawing on very long. So I think I am going to split this up into 2 episodes, and I'm going to finish off the build next episode, and we'll get on with some of the interiors as well and actually kitting out the shop, because we've got a huge amount of stock to make before we can even open the place up to the paying public. Now I'm going to be making lots of different clay work stuff, so planters and planters and crucibles and flower pots and bowls and crocks. Anything you make with clay essentially is what I'm going to do, including hardened clay and the actual clay itself. And I think one of the unique things about this shop is I'm going to be offering to buy actual clay, so moldable clay, and then I will sell that back as stuff you can make with it, as actual fired stuff. So it's quite a nice system that I've come up with it. So you can pay with either rusty gears or with actual clay itself. I don't know what prices I'm going to put on just yet. Let me know down in the comment section what you think would be a good pricing system based around rusty gears, with the all the different clay items in the game. Could really do with your help for that. Anyway, this is where we're going to leave it for today. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like, comment and subscribe on the video and to the channel, and I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting me by subscribing to the channel and liking and commenting on the videos. Thanks. See you next time.